أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Respected President Saab, office bearers of the World Federation, delegates from all over the world, scholars, guests, brothers, sisters, and anyone else I may have forgotten, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, let me say what a great honor it is to be here with you in this conference and having this opportunity to talk to you about the work we're doing at ICAIR. I always find these World Federation gatherings really interesting. I think I call them democracy in action. I definitely learn a lot here, and I'm happy to say that my Gujarati and my Swahili are coming along nicely. If you'll give me just 30 seconds for a little story about that. So we were in Dar es Salaam last year, where Dar es Salaam Jamaat and AFED very kindly hosted our previous conference, and it was a brilliant experience. It was my first time in East Africa. I had Mandazi, it changed my life. And I think it was, I was doing my emceeing thing at the conference, and then I think on the second day, a member of the community came up to me, an uncle came up to me, he says, you know, I've seen sheikhs from all over. I've seen Arab sheikhs and Iranian sheikhs, African sheikhs, and even Khoja sheikhs. And then he said, but I've never seen a Muzungu sheikh. Now, I didn't speak any Swahili at that point, but I immediately turned to my friend who was with me and I said, did he just call me a Gora? So you know, I'm picking up. I've got Arabic, I've got Persian, I think, you know, Gujarati, Swahili, Urdu. Let's keep it going. I have to keep up with Shaykh Nader and Sabra Juma, though, because I think they speak like 8 or 9 languages, and French as well. You know, je suis désolé, je ne parle pas français. It's like that's all I can say. That's all I can say. So, on to the main topic. Can I just get a show of hands? How many of you before today have heard about the International Center for Advanced Islamic Research, or ICAIR? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, that shows that Marcoms are doing an excellent job, so thank you, Marcoms. We really appreciate that. You know, we're a relatively new organization within WF, and we're finding our feet, we're growing, and I just want to say that we're receiving tremendous support, not only from WF, not only from the regional federations, but also from the local Jamaat and the grassroots, and that's really encouraging. But what is ICAIR? Why does ICAIR exist? Why does the World Federation need a research center? Well, I think, you know, listening to a lot of the talks that are happening today, a lot of the conversations that have been going on over lunch and even while the conference is going on, we are facing unprecedented challenges, not just as a community, not just as a madhab, but as a human species. I think Brother Mohammed Mehdi spoke very beautifully earlier about the challenges posed by artificial intelligence, by climate change, by the fast-paced flow of information, fake news. All of this is presenting us with a set of challenges that we have never encountered before and that we do not yet have the equipment to respond to. And at the same time, we have all of the usual challenges, the challenges that have always been there, the perennial challenges, the existential challenges, the questions that all youth and elders will ask at some point. Questions like, why am I here? Why am I a Muslim? How do I know this hadith is authentic? We have all these questions and all of these ideologies floating around. And yet we find ourselves without answers to them. And in the modern world, when you take these two sets of challenges, the perennial challenges, the existential challenges, and the challenges posed by technology and change, and you put them together, you have an exponential growth in these challenges. Whereas before, if someone was promoting harmful ideas, it was in one area. It was in a local area. Now, thanks to social media, thanks to TikTok and Instagram, those ideas can spread around the world in just a few seconds. How do we respond to that? Well, ICAIR is committed to providing the response to that. So in the words of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, knowledge is the pinnacle of virtue. It is both the highest virtue and the source of all other virtues. And the goal of ICAIR, the mission of ICAIR, and this will be in your conference packs and it's on our website, is to address the intellectual and spiritual challenges facing the Khoja and global Shia Ithna Ashari Muslim community by combining traditional scholarship with innovative research and to promote the study of Shiism globally. ICAIR exists in order to carry out research that will be transformative for the global community, to address the needs of the global community. And I believe that actually sets us apart from all other research institutions that currently exist, because we are a community-embedded research organization. We do not want to live in an ivory tower. We want to bring the research to the community, and we want the community to be engaged with the research, because ultimately, it is the community who this research needs to be for. And what is our vision for ICAIR? What do we want to achieve? Not just in the next year, not just in the next 3 years, when hopefully we'll have another one of these Triennial conferences and we will update you on our work, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what is our vision? It is to become a premier global center in Islamic research where people can explore both timeless and contemporary questions and to provide intellectual responses to the challenges of modern living from an authentically Shi'i perspective. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, the way I like to think of ICAIR is as a bridge between 3 major pillars. One is the community, and I think that is the most important pillar, because without the community, there is no life, there is no faith, because it is the community that is the backbone of the religion, in the words of Imam Ali. Building a bridge between the community, the university, and the Hausa. And when I say the university, I'm primarily referring to Shi'i and Muslim academics in the university doing research that is of interest to the community. And ICAIR sits in the middle of these 3 pillars and facilitates a dialogue, facilitates a conversation between them, between the community and scholarship, both traditional scholarship and university scholarship, and also equally importantly, facilitating dialogue between the Hausa and the university. Because I can't tell you, as someone who spent over a decade in the Hausa and also in the university and has been to academic conferences, has been to Bath al-Kharij, there are conversations happening in both of these places which are related to one another, and yet the scholars in the university don't talk to the scholars in the Hausa and vice versa. You have exceptions, but that's the general rule. And so ICAIR, by being a community-embedded research organization, is in a unique position to build that bridge, to bring scholarship to the community and also to bridge between different kinds of scholarship. And how do we do that? What does building a bridge look like? In very general terms, because we're short on time, so I don't want to spend too much time talking. I want to also hear from all of you, and then we can have a discussion and maybe elaborate on some of these points. Number 1 is by publications. There are 3 main channels through which we bridge the gap. The first is through publications. So all of you who received a conference pack will have seen issue 2 of the Al-Qalam Journal, which is our flagship research journal where we get research from both Hausa and university scholars in the form of academic articles, book reviews, and more. Issue 3 will be coming out in the next few months, inshallah, so do keep an eye on our website. And if you do have feedback, we'd love to hear it from you. It's a specialist journal, so it's mainly aimed at researchers, but that's one example. We also have 2 books in publication, in the process of publication, which will be coming out in the next year, hopefully. As well as publications, engagement. Now, what do I mean by engagement? The word engagement covers a multitude of sins. So we have the conference, which we held in Dar es Salaam, and more recently we held a great conference at the JCC in Toronto that Nasimco facilitated. So we have our annual conference. We also have monthly or almost monthly seminars, both online and in person. And then we do training courses, academic workshops, and things like that, aimed at both the community and at scholarship. And finally, we have partnerships. And this is partnerships with other academic and Hausa institutions, partnerships with industry, designed to bolster our research potential and to also represent Shiism in the academic space. And we believe that through these 3 broad channels, and what I've given you is just a summary of what we're doing and what we're planning to do, we can bridge this gap between these different pillars. So what have we done so far? Well, when Haj Safdar and the office bearers announced the creation of the research center in 2021, and in partnership with the Islamic Education Department, what were the goals? So to form a core team, to create a physical presence in London, to develop media capacity, publication of journal articles and books, and to organize seminars and conferences relevant to challenging issues. So I'm just going to speed through these. So the attainment, we now have a core team. We have a head, we have admin staff, we have a full-time translator, and we have a full-time research associate, and we're continuing to grow. We've established a headquarters. It's actually about 20 meters that way. Currently empty of furniture. It's all in here and downstairs. We really benefit from this wonderful space at Harefield. It's actually a great space to hold the kind of events we want to do, to do the kind of work that we want to do, and we're very fortunate to be here in this leafy suburb of London. We've also, in terms of developed media capacity, we've got a cross-departmental media team, at the heart of which is Marcoms, who support us in everything we do. Even this beautiful slide template was provided by them. We've established a social media presence, and by the way, please do give us a follow. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, now known as X, YouTube. Do go on there and press the follow button, and you'll get regular updates from us. We have just set up a media studio around the corner from here as well for podcasts and other things. And finally, we've published 2 issues of the journal, a third is in progress, and as I said, 2 books are in production. We've also held 3 conferences in London, Dar es Salaam, and Toronto, and we've held 7 seminars so far, and we're planning many more in the future, inshallah, including this summer. So do, again, keep an eye, watch this space. But let's look to the future. I don't want to just talk about what we've done. Very quickly, I want to give you a sense of what we're aiming to do in the next 3 years. The first of all, and this was already mentioned by Mohammed Mehdi, artificial intelligence. Now, I don't have time to give you a full idea of that, but there are several areas we need to look at in artificial intelligence. First of all, we need to look at developing a coherent and Islamically informed artificial intelligence policy. What is going to be our approach to artificial intelligence? We also need to look at the ethics of artificial intelligence, which is growing in importance. I mean, there was recent news at OpenAI, the whole ethics team left because of disagreements with senior management. And so AI ethics is going to grow in importance as AI permeates every aspect of our lives. So it's important that we have an Islamic ethics of artificial intelligence. That's something that we want to look into through our research. And at the same time, and I'll speak more about this in a moment, developing artificial intelligence tools for the community. Now, at this stage, this is all experimental. What we want to do right now is learn about the capacities of AI, the risks of AI, and the potential of AI, in conjunction with scholars from the Hausa, experts in artificial intelligence and computer science, and of course in collaboration with the community. And alhamdulillah, the global community has massive intellectual resources we can also draw on. And I've had some really good conversations over the last couple of months with people from all over the world. But we will talk a little bit about some of the tools that we're working on at the end of this presentation. So that's number 1. 2, we want to build more strategic partnerships. So we want to build partnerships with the Hausa, with universities, and also with the community. So with both individual centers, regional federations, and community organizations. We want to understand the needs of the community. We also want to establish our presence in universities. We're looking at things such as grants and bursaries for students in the field of Islamic studies to promote the study of Shiism in the university. And of course, we want to form partnerships with the Hausa, intellectual exchanges, workshops, and the like, to bring that scholarship to the community. We also are looking at developing training programs and research workshops, and we can talk more about that either in the Q&A session or offline, but the idea is providing training and workshops to scholars. So, for example, giving university scholars a grounding in traditional Hausa studies and equipping traditional Hausa scholars with the academic skills to speak to the university. And finally, events, publications, and digital media. So we've already spoken a little bit about our publications and events. In terms of digital media, what we're looking at right now is establishing a podcast, which will then be another output from the center, bringing research to the wider community. So now let me talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. So it's going to be very difficult for you to see on the screen here, but I'm going to very briefly describe what this is. So we have 2 artificial intelligence teams, 2 very different artificial intelligence teams working on 2 very different initiatives. So one team is a team of academic researchers with a background in Hausa studies and also a background in computer science. So quite a rare combination of skill sets. And one of the main issues we face in Shi'i scholarship, both traditional and university scholarship, is the question of hadith studies. studying these complex chains of narrators, these multiple books of hadith, these multiple versions of the same hadith, machine learning and computer science and computational analysis gives us a rare set of tools that wasn't available to scholars in the past that will allow us to look at this body of material in a new way. So what we're actually building at the moment as a proof of concept is a database of Shi'i hadith narrators and the connections between them, which will allow us to build, you can see this chart there. This is actually a map of all the chains of narrators in just one chapter of Al-Kafi. Our vision, if we're successful, is to be able to do this for the entirety of the Shi'i hadith literature, which will then be made available to researchers who can ask all sorts of interesting questions about that and examine it. And one of our new research associate, Dr. Mustafa Muvahadifar, who is here somewhere, actually did his PhD on a computational analysis of Al-Kafi and came up with some very interesting findings on there. This is taking that to the next level. And this will be made available to researchers in the Hausa and the university to enable them to do more thorough, more accurate, and groundbreaking research on the Shi'i heritage. And what you see here, so you see the graph here, you also see sort of an example of how the database entries will look. If you would like to discuss this more and maybe get a closer look at this, please do reach out to me either here or even remotely. You can drop me an email and we can set up a meeting. The second project, so this project, by the way, is called Rijal Graph, after Ilm al-Rijal, and graph, the idea of mapping it. The second project, which we're doing with Mohammed Mawji, who's over there, who's supporting us in this with his AI startup, is called MIM Assistant. Now, this is a very different sort of tool. So the first tool that I described to you, Rijal Graph, is aimed at researchers in academia. MIM Assistant is a proof of concept for an education tool that could be used in multiple kinds of education contexts. And the basic idea is that you would have a knowledge base, which would be the course content. So it could be a madrasa curriculum, it could be a secular secondary curriculum, it could be a Hausa online course. You give this to MIM Assistant, and what it will do is it will generate questions based on that course content to help with revision. It poses the question to a student, and then the student provides an answer. What it will then do is it will compare the answer with the knowledge base using something called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. It will compare that answer to the knowledge base and give feedback. And rather than just me talking about it, I think the best way for you to see it is, to understand it, is to see it in action. And Mohammed Mawji has very kindly prepared a demonstration video, which I think we can play now. Shahid Ali? Thank you. I'll just talk you through. So this is what I just described. So you pick a topic, and it asks, what is the meaning of the word Tawheed? The student provides an answer. And so it gives, Tawheed is belief in prophethood and the Day of Judgment, which is obviously wrong. And the chatbot says, your response seems to confuse Tawheed with a broader set of Islamic beliefs. And then it goes into more detail. So then the student tries again. Tawheed means believing in the oneness of God. Chatbot says, your response captures the core essence of Tawheed. However, it is important to expand on this concept. So notice the chatbot just doesn't go, that's right. It actually gives suggestions for how that could be improved. Now, I want to emphasize, Mohammed Mawji and his team put this together in 6 weeks for us. So this is extremely basic. This isn't even sort of at the alpha testing stage, and we wouldn't release it in this state for general use. The idea right now is we want to see what can we do with artificial intelligence, and then we can make an informed decision on how we want to bring it in. Now, I realize that for many of you, there's lots of questions about artificial intelligence, the ethics of artificial intelligence, the safety of artificial intelligence. These are all things that we are keenly aware of and we're looking to have a dialogue about. So if we don't have time in the Q&A, please do reach out to me and we can talk more about that. And I think in the interest of time now, we should move to the discussion session. So thank you all for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to learning from all of you. Salawat.